You're here. Welcome to the Masterminding Success podcast. They say if you want to be successful in business and in life, then surround yourself with successful people. So pull up a seat. The mastermind is about to begin.
So if peanut oil comes from peanuts and olive oil comes from olives, where does baby oil come from?
Probably from, I don't know. Good question.
Oh, hey, you made it. Glad you could join us for another episode of the Masterminding Success podcast. We're your hosts, Keith Wheeler
And Nuria Colby.
Nuria, what are we going to be talking about today?
Oh, today's a good subject again. And the title of the subject is This Isn't Easy.
Yeah, it's not. And I think it's a very broad topic, but in so many different ways when it comes to starting a business and running a business, whether it's online or an actual physical business, it's not easy. And people go into it sometimes thinking it is, whether it's because they've seen some guru online and you know, and told them, hey, do this, try these steps, and you'll make millions, and it's easy. And it's not.
It really isn't. And I've seen that so many times. And we all know the type of clickbait thumbnails, make $30,000 in your sleep or make $50,000 overnight, which is fair enough, because it draws you in. You want to watch that video. And I'm the first person that clicks on those videos and watches them. But sometimes I feel they do make it sound too easy when it really isn't. I don't think starting any business is easy. I think that I can't remember the percentage, but a lot of businesses fail within the first year. And this is no different. Online businesses are no different from any other business. And it just takes certain things that you need to do to make it successful. And even then there are no guarantees. So it's definitely not easy. No.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think it does. When people say that, it does a disservice to the other people in that niche or business model or whatever, because they have put time and money and sweat and tears into it. But also it's doing a disservice to you when you're watching this and then you buy into it. Last week we talked about shiny object syndrome. So you buy into it, and then what happens is you already have this preconceived notion that it's going to be easy. And then when you try it and you do step by step what you're taught, and it's not easy and it doesn't work, and you don't have millions, or however much was promised, then you think you must have done something wrong. And that's when people quit, because they figure, it obviously there's, when I watched the infomercial or whatever, I saw all these people who were successful, I must just be doing it wrong. And so that's one reason why I absolutely wanted to do this topic for the episode, is because it's not you. Nothing in life that's worth working for is easy. And I touched on it a little bit last week, but if anybody is promising you a certain amount of money or a certain amount of time frame, that is a red flag to run away, because again, there are no guarantees. But I also don't think I want it to be easy. I think back when my kids were in, teenagers, and they were getting, they were about the age to get a car. I made all four of them buy their own first vehicle. One, because early on I was like, I'm not gonna be able to afford buying four cars. And so, when, with our oldest, I'm like, you have to buy your own car. But because she worked for it and she earned it, she appreciated it more than her friends who, just somebody, mom, dad, whoever just gave them a car. They didn't really do anything to earn it. So while it's nice to jump into something, it's a nice idea to jump into something and immediately see, a bunch of money running, or whatever success looks like to you, immediately. Yeah, that's nice in theory, but but one, it's not realistic, and two, like I said, I don't think it's really anything that they would really give you any sense of fulfillment if it's not something that you really did put time and energy into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. And I think sometimes, you enjoy things more when you know that you've put that work in, and you appreciate it more as well in the end. But it's not easy. And I sometimes think, as YouTubers, you have a YouTube channel, I have a YouTube channel, and people sometimes look at us and think, oh yeah, they've created this easily, but they haven't really seen the work that's gone before that. And I always make it really clear in my channel that this isn't easy. You're not going to earn money quickly. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a business. Businesses take time. Sometimes they take a year or 2 or 3 to work, and that's really important because we've seen the videos ourselves, and I don't want to mislead people, but I also don't want, this is the problem, I don't want to discourage anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah. So do I discourage people if I tell them that this is hard and this is hard work? I hope I don't. I hope that the people who want to create a business and who want to start a business are aware that this isn't something that you can do quickly. If it was, I think everybody would start a business and there'd be no poverty in this world.
Right.
But unfortunately, you just have to try, and you have to see if it's something that you can do. And that's the same for any business, whether it's publishing, whether it's selling anything, whether it's online or not online. I think you need to go into it with the expectation that, not that you may fail, but the expectation that it's not going to be easy. It does require hard work and time and effort. And then if things turn out better than that, then you can say, oh, it was easy. But normally it wouldn't be easy. It would take time and effort, and then you're prepared, at
Right.
least.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, and it's and it's understandable that you start a business, and again, getting into the mindset ahead of time that it's a business. I mean, they call it a business for a reason. I mean, it is work. But I think having that notion ahead of time that this isn't easy. And again, I agree with you that I don't want to discourage people. I think more and more people need to take that leap of faith in themselves and try business. One of the things I've seen that has been a big differentiator between the people that have been successful and the ones that haven't is just not quitting.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it comes down to knowing ahead of time that it's not going to be easy. Now, I understand there's people out there go, Keith, I get it. I understand that it's not easy and that, it's not get rich quick, but I'm, the situation I'm in, I need that money quick. I need, and trust me, I know I have been there, and there are definitely, I would say one of the biggest things that we can do, and we'll cover this more in another episode, is to diversify, but before you even start your business, I think it really comes down to planning everything out. Just like if you were writing a novel or whatever, kind of outlining what your plan is for the business. And then once it's on paper, it's a lot easier for you to wrap your mind around how much time it's going to take. What areas can you spend your time on most efficiently for that business model? And again, kind of something we talked about last week is to figure out what is something that you need versus something that you want. And that's a big thing in business and in life is,
Definitely.
Especially whether you're low on budget of money or budget of time, you need to figure out efficiently what works best and what do you absolutely need to better yourself and better your business. And it takes time. It takes planning. I think that's another big thing is you need to plan ahead and not just kind of go in it willy-nilly. But definitely don't, take any commercial you see with a grain of salt. Know that those people are trying to sell you on something, whether that something is great, or not. Their job is to sell. And so again, something I talked about last week is, purchase things, do things, whatever your business is, do it logically, do it based on what you've planned and what you perceive to be best for your business, and less on the emotion behind it.
Yeah, definitely. That's so true. And I think the emotion plays a big part in it, because the emotion in most people, I remember when I first started, I wanted to quit my job. I didn't want to do what I was doing, but I couldn't, because I needed the money and I needed to create an income. And that was the difficulty. I think the difficulty was to want to start this publishing business, but I couldn't really go full out because I needed to have an income. And that is where I think people sometimes think, oh, you can make money quickly. And then that is a big mistake, because I basically did a lot of other things on the side to help me support myself. I had, obviously, my husband also had a job, so that helped, but we couldn't live on just one salary. So, I had to produce something. And I think my advice for anyone would be, start it as a side hustle, or start it while you still have something else going, because the pressure of having to make money when you haven't got any other money coming in, that can really affect your business in a negative way, because you make the wrong decisions all the time. I think as long as you've got that cushion behind you, that, you've got some support, I think your decisions are better that way. I don't know how to describe it really, but for me, it was crucial that I had something coming in while I was starting the business. What do you think? Do you think that's an important, or do you think people should just go all out and
no, I agree 100%. And again, we'll talk about it in another episode of,
yes,
when you should just, go all in. But I mean, even now, at the recording of this, I still have a side job. I still have my quote day job, and that's important. It gives you that sense of security, that you have, that your bills are going to be paid, you're still going to have food on the table and a roof over your head. But also to know that you are striving for something more for yourself. So that's what, so yeah, starting it as a side hustle is absolutely a great way to get started. It also gives you that leverage and the flexibility of trying something new, of pivoting if you need to. If whatever your plan is, you planned ahead of time, and you did everything Keith said, and you outlined what your business was going to look like, and things just didn't work out. That doesn't necessarily mean that you just throw it away, but because you have another income coming in, you have that ability to pivot and change things a little bit and figure out what's working and what's not working. A lot of stress comes in if you just drop everything and just go all in. Don't get me wrong, I have the utmost respect for people that do that. But that said, I have just as much respect for people that sit back and say, no, I'm not happy with where I'm working right now, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that income coming in while I'm working on something else. And so, I mean, I think that's the hardest way to do it, because you're dividing your time, I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, I'm doing that now, you're dividing your time, which means you have even less time available to put into your business. But in the long run, it helps out, because like you said, mentally you don't have as much stress on you, because while you may not be 100% happy with the business that you're at, because if you were, well, why would you think of going elsewhere? But again, getting back to this isn't easy. Chances are you're creating a business not because you want to make some money for, to go out this weekend. You're doing it, you're doing it for the long haul. You're doing it, whether it's, just for yourself, you're doing it for your kids, for your grandkids, your legacy, whatever your reasoning is. So because of that, the time and money and effort that you put into it is going to be equal to what you get out of it. And so it's not easy. And hopefully, you build it to a point where it makes it super easy for your grandkids. And that's great. But one thing I've heard so many times, it's like this new hot word or hot phrase is passive income. And the thought behind it is, I'm just going to sit back and the money's just going to roll in. And even with self-publishing books, which so many people say is passive income, it's not. I mean, you publish it one time and it's out there forever, but and yes, you're getting, royalties from sales, but you have to do things to get those sales to come in. Organic sales don't come in as nearly as frequently as they used to, because more and more people are hearing about, self-publishing and how it's, get rich quick or whatever. It's the newest shiny object, like we talked about last week. But it's, it's not a passive income. And I've yet to see, and if any of the listeners knows of a passive income that, truly passive, where I create it one time and I never have to do anything for it. I don't have to promote it. I don't have to build off of the brand that I've created or anything like that. I'd love to hear about it. But but majority of the time it's not, and that's not a bad thing. It goes back to the work I put in. I get something from it. I get the enjoyment, not just a paycheck, but I get the enjoyment of reaping the benefits of the work that I've put in. But I don't want to seem negative, because I'm not. I'm super positive about it, but and I don't want to deter anybody, but I don't want to give anybody a false sense of security that so many of these commercials, whether it's on YouTube or any other, Facebook or wherever you go, where it's, you see these sponsored ad, which red flag. Sponsored ad means they're paying for you to see that. So they're clearly trying to sell you something. And they know that their sales pitch is going to tug at your emotions, because that's why they're paying for you to see it. Those they get you this false sense of security that it's going to be easy. And that's the biggest thing is, and I think, like you were saying, if you go in with the logical mindset that this is not going to be easy, that it is going to take work, that you have a much greater chance of success, because you'll stick in with it longer. You won't think that, oh, it's not working for me, I must be doing something wrong. Because I felt that many times, and it's not.
I think it comes down to expectations, really. Again, exactly. I mean, I remember watching those videos when I got started in KDP. The reason I got started was I watched those videos, people posting their income reports and saying they earned $10,000 a month, $5,000 a month. And that's what got me started at the end of the day. But it's not that I thought I was going to make $5,000. And I remember exactly my thoughts. I was watching one of Shashwat's videos where he had made $5,000 in 1 month. And I thought to myself, I still remember thinking this, I thought, if I can make a fraction of that, I'd be so happy. Right. And little did I know then that one day, I'd be in the same position. But my expectation was quite low, really. I knew I could make it work. I never had any doubt that I could make it work, but my expectation was lowered. And I also knew it was going to be hard work. So maybe that has something to do with it. I didn't think it was going to be easy. But, everybody will feel differently when they watch something like that. Some people will watch it and think, oh, yes, I can do that easily because they've just said it's easy, or they just, if they can do it, surely I can do it, that kind of thing. And I sometimes say to people, if I can do it, you can do it, because I want to encourage them. But, am I doing the wrong thing by saying that? Because
no, because you're giving the you're giving them hope. That's
Yeah,
that's what so many people want, these days, is they
I
want that
know.
hope, or they want that permission. They just want,
Yeah.
your permission, to that they can do it.
Mm,
Just encouragement. And so, when it comes to, you were talking about income reports can be extremely encouraging. Um,
mm,
as long, again, as you go into it with the mindset knowing that this took work, regardless
yeah.
of what they tell you,
Yeah.
it took work to get there. you know
Mhm.
um you think about it. If they could just make that much money that quickly without putting any work into it, why are they only making that amount? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd be making millions.
Yeah. That's
And
right. Yeah.
and so, I've seen people who do income reports, and I've seen comments where they say, "Oh, you're just bragging," and then other people are,
Mhm.
saying that, it's a great encouragement. So you can't make everybody happy when it comes
No.
to those. But I definitely, like I said, I definitely want to encourage people to to think about starting a business, and
Mm.
think about why you want to start a business. And I definitely believe that having an end goal is good. Like, what is your end result? What do you want? And not, I want to make X amount of dollars. Like,
Yeah.
if you just focus on the money, honestly, you'll never be happy.
No.
It's I want to be able to quit my day job and spend more time with my family. Great.
Mm.
you know um and by having that vision, ahead of you, then that's what I think will drive you to overcome those hurdles that it's not easy.
Definitely.
But but yeah, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
When you finally get there, when you finally get to that
Absolutely.
point.
Absolutely. And I think, any business, I've run several businesses, and I've always had a positive outlook, really. I've never really started anything thinking I'm going to fail. I don't think anybody does that. But I am aware that that's a possibility, and sometimes you have to change track and do something slightly differently to improve things. So I think it's important to be flexible. It's important to have a positive outlook as well. And like I said, I mean, my expectations before I started self-publishing on KDP were quite low, because I just wanted to try it at first
Mhm.
and think, watching income reports for me was very encouraging, and that's why I don't mind doing mine, because people have asked me for them. So, and I understand the people that don't like them, but they can be encouraging, and they show people what's possible more than anything. So if it's possible, then maybe it helps somebody to encourage them, or to start this kind of business. It might not work out, but that can be the case with any business. But it's so worth trying, at least. I'm glad I tried
Yeah.
because it's something that I really enjoy doing now. And I don't really want to do anything else now. so so
No, I
let's
I
keep
I
going.
agree. Absolutely. I agree completely. It's, like I said, it really comes down to, again, just thinking logically, and I mean, yeah, you can have emotion, because if you're not emotional about it, if you don't, then that means you don't care about it. If you don't care
Yeah.
about it, you're not going to stick with it through the hard times, because there are going to be hard times. And
Yeah.
so, when I say, have a logical, standpoint, it's more from a planning aspect, not actually doing it, because it is something you want to be passionate about. Because if you're not, then why are you doing it? Why
Yeah.
not just stick with a regular, 9 to 5 day job?
Yeah.
And so, no, I agree. And I think that people should absolutely be encouraged. It's never been easier, in
Mm.
air quotes, to start a business
Yeah.
in this day and age. Again, it's not easy, but you have a lot more I guess I should say it's more accessible
Yeah.
than ever before. And to start businesses for very little upfront money.
Yeah.
And so, and I absolutely encourage everybody who's thought about it to at least dip your toe in it. And
Yeah.
again, you don't have to go all in, and I would strongly advise not to, for 98% of the people out there, is, but just, put your toe in there, and see what comes of it. And let us know what
Absolutely.
comes of it.
Yeah. I'd love to hear stories of whether it's a success story or not. It's always lovely to hear from people that have tried. And what their stories are. And I think something you said earlier about not giving up as well, that's so important, because there were so many times where I wanted to give up and I thought, this isn't working, and something just made me go on and thinking, no, let's just keep going a little bit. And then finally, because sometimes people give up just before they're about to make it.
Right.
So,
Right.
you just never know. And like you said, it's so easy to start a business these days. I know we're talking about it's not easy,
Right.
but it is easy to start, and
Right.
to try it. It gets more difficult as you go on, but that is, that then depends on how you handle the situation and where you take it. But it's definitely easy to start, I would say, compared to any other business.
Agreed. And hopefully by listening to this, we've at least prepared you mentally for the understanding that there are going to be hiccups along the way, and those hiccups I really find have what makes me one. Some of the best decisions I've made for my business have been based off of those hiccups along the way, but also again makes me appreciate the things that I've accomplished. And also, as I was talking about earlier about, having a vision of, what your goal is, don't forget to celebrate those little milestones.
So true.
When we did, when it comes to the YouTube channel, it took me a while just to get my first 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
And so when I got that first 100, it was a big deal. And then 1,000, then 10,000, and so on. And so it's then again just those little milestones along the way. Make sure that you celebrate them, whether it's get yourself an ice cream or or get your nails done or whatever it means for you. Celebrate it, share it on social media. Well, whatever you want to do, it's a big deal. But I definitely, like you said, there have been times that I wanted to quit. And and especially with the channel, you kind of compare yourself to other people, and you see other people.
Mistake.
Yeah, you see other people, and and like we talked about, you see other people, and it looked so so easy, and it's it's not. And then you look at their when they started their channel, and they started their channel a decade ago, and so that kind of helps you see, maybe it wasn't that easy, there probably were a lot of hiccups along the way. Well, this has been another great mastermind, Nuria, and a big thank you to each and every one of you listeners and viewers who came to tag along. If you enjoyed today's mastermind, it would mean the world to us if you would follow or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening platform. And while you're at it, why don't you go on and leave us a review? We read each and every one of them, and we really appreciate it. What are we going to be talking about next week?
Oh, next week we're talking about dealing with burnout. Is that right?
Yes. Dealing with burnout. That's
dealing
absolutely.
With burnout. That's quite a topic as well. I think. Have you had experience in that?
Oh yes. That was one of the many reasons why I wanted to kind of quit the YouTube channel. So it should be a good episode.
That's a good topic. Yeah.
All right. Well, until next week, I've been Keith Wheeler.
And I've been Nuria Corby.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining the Mastermind today. Be sure to follow the podcast on your platform of choice and tell a friend who would enjoy it too. Your support is greatly appreciated. This has been the Masterminding Success Podcast.